Is that
Hello,
me?
all. Welcome to our weekly meditation town hall. We're thrilled today to have Lama Surya joining us for this season of gratitude. Wanted to wish you all, while I'm on, a very happy Thanksgiving and draw your attention to our announcement here that most of you who have been on before in the last few weeks have seen. We are going to be starting our new year with Lama Surya and Lama Roger doing a virtual 1 day retreat. And if you've not retreated before, as Eddie Houben mentioned last week, it's a great way to practice. So we hope that you can join us. And also, this coming Tuesday is Giving Tuesday. And we still encourage you, if you can, any amount to give to the Dzogchen Foundation. I will be putting a link in the chat soon, and you can click on that, or you can go to our website, dzogchen.org, to make a donation. We would greatly appreciate it, as it does cost money to run things like this. So welcome. Thank you for being here. And I will turn it over to Lama Surya.
Hello, Dollies. Nice to see you alls, and wonderful to be here together. Happy Sunday. Grateful, even just to wake up in the morning and draw a breath in this precious human life, as Tibetan Buddhism calls it, in one of the first and most basic teachings of the foundational practices of Tibetan Vajrayana Buddhism, the precious human life. Not to mention living here in this great, mostly great country, and free to do these things that you can't do in many other countries where you're not so free, etc. So gratitude. And that's a good subject today because I think the local holiday of Thanksgiving is coming around. I mean, that's what one of my Tibetan lamas called it once. I appreciated that. Um, and it's a good time to think about gratitude and the practice of gratitude and the attitude of gratitude. Oh, it rhymes. It must be Dharma. And, the raising our gaze and the altitude that comes with gratitude and generosity and non-attachment. And if you want a Dzogchen teaching, a Mahamudra teaching, it said that the greatest form of dana paramita, the first of the 10 Panaceian virtues of the Bodhisattva, dana, generosity, giving, dana, caritas, self-giving, dana. The ultimate form of generosity is non-attachment, is letting go. So we practice that in action and in our outlook or view or within our minds and consciousness, if you want to be more precise. And we'll do a little guided meditation. First, I want to begin with a little chanting and mentioning cultivating gratitude as a practice. Shakespeare or some late night commentator said um, generosity uh, something rains blessings twice, once when it's given and from the point of receiving also the same gift, like at both ends and in between, mutual reciprocity. He didn't use that phrase. I'll use it. That's very important for us, I think, to think about. And passing it on, paying it forward to the youngers and the next generations, and keeping these things going, these timeless, these endangered natural resources of the timeless wisdom traditions so often overlooked and ignored at our peril these days in the modern, violent, scientific, materialistic, divided, divisive kind of world and politics. So, as we all know, since we're students of Al Gore's Inconvenient Truth and sayings of that kind, that movie about the green earth ended with the African saying, if we don't pull together, we'll be pulled apart. So something to think about and practice. Sangha refuge, community building, koinonia, communion and mutual reciprocity and co-creation, not just cult followership, also inculcating leadership in each other and ourselves and in the youngers, the next generations. As an aside, as an American, as a former New Yorker, I really can't help but say, I really wonder sometimes where the authentic leaders of the future will come from, and also the authentic enlightened ones and realized ones, but where the like political statesmen might come from. Since what young person in their right mind would want to enter into that political fray and swamp today? On the other hand, there are some inspiring people like Malala. I'm sure you all remember her. Afghani girl Taliban tried to kill her, I think, for going to school or some other thing they considered criminal. And she survived somehow, and she was the youngest person to receive the Nobel Peace Prize several years ago. And now she's married. She graduated from Oxford University, and she's written two books. I can't remember the first one, but it was quite well known. And then this one more recently, now that she's about 25, looking back, and also what she's doing in the world for women, for education, and for freedom and equality. But who expected a leader to come like from there? Not from a family with a big name, whatever country we're talking about, or a fortune. So if not you, who, and if not now, when? That's the old Jewish saying about the bodhisattva, about the mensch, about the socially conscious, good citizen and adult, something we all aspire to. Grateful, forgiving, not carrying the burden of resentment or not to mention vendettas and hatred around. Putting loving kindness into action. May we all together be light bringers and awakeners in the world, bodhisattvas, bodhikattvas, bodhidogmas. No, no dogma. Bodhi, seeds blossoming and blooming, and Bodhi trees giving shade to those who haven't yet grown and blossomed entirely. Hunjancho samcho krimpoche, makye panam ke gyochi, yepanyampa me payan, kane kandu pelwa show. May all beings up from now until Jangchip Semchok, one of the first prayers, from now until reaching, there it is. Thank you. May the pure, brilliant son of Bodhicitta, enlightened compassion, action, altruism, dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness of suffering and confusion, unstoppably until all are illumined and awakened. And all means all beings. It's a big task and aspiration. It's beyond time, not waiting for all the animals and insects to be enlightened. Awakening now. 응 우전율지는 차사 배망에서 덤불라 야친척인 어드니 배마장내 셰수라 고두칸로만 퍼쿠 케키 제수 다트리기 신기라 치셰수소 Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Om Ahum Benza Guru Pema Siddhi Hum. Wah, 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 wah. Just sitting, just breathing, just being. The three inner meditators' refuges, the three reliances of the meditator, natural body, just sitting, natural breath and energy, just breathing and flowing and changing, flowing, ecstatic, not static. And third, natural heart and mind, just being. The Ents, as Kant called it, just being with a capital B, beingness, not a separate being, as in the dualistic or theological philosophical outlooks. Not a separate being, just being itself, beingness. Hence, natural state, as we call it in Tibetan, the Neluk, as it is, the true nature of mind, as some would translate it, adding in the mental piece. The Buddha nature, as some would call it, like the inner spark of divinity in the Judeo-Christian tradition. The Godhead, God's pied-à-terre in our heart and mind. So many of us seekers and pilgrims seek God everywhere except where she is, within us and each other and each of our relations. I'd like to quote the author, thinker, sociologist, empath, Brene Brown. Look up her books. A native Texan who's written greatly about emotions and empathy and sympathy and compassion and awakening, and even talks about the sacred pause, as she says, as Buddhists use, which in Christianity she would call contemplative prayer. Anyway, we call it mindfulness or the sacred pause or observing stimulus before responding, not just reacting, the sacred pause. Brene Brown says, my practice is trying to see the God, the divinity, the light in every face I meet. Although all too often I feel like punching them in the throat. That was fantastic. That got my attention. She was being real because she writes about emotionality and what the cost is to us of suppressing things like anger. Not that we should become haters, but suppression is the issue, not healthy processing, etc. Anyway, just sitting, just breathing, just being, seeing the light, the divinity, whatever you want to call it, seeing through everything. What did Meister Eckhart say? That Jew boo, can't remember. I think he said, the eye through which I see God is the eye through which he sees me. Don't get hung up on gender words. The eye through which I see God is the eye through which he sees me. That deserves a gong. Ralph Waldo Emerson called it the transparent eyeball that he experienced, the great transparent eyeball. We might call it the view or God's mind that he experienced when he was about 22 years old, a young preacher here in Concord, Massachusetts. And it informed and formed the rest of his life, thought, and teaching, and speaking and spiritual leadership career. That's Rigpa, the big Tigli, the great sphere, the ultimate sphere, the big circle, whatever you want to call it, the great radiant, transparent eyeball, as our first American philosopher, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Thoreau's guru, called it. Just seeing, just being is freeing. Oh, it rhymes. Must be Dharma. Mike Kempo used to say, don't even step on magazines and newspapers in the subway. It's all Dharma. It's all learning, educational, wisdom letters. Respect it. He had a big mind. Just breathing. Natural breath is Buddha's breath. Nirmanakaya, Sambhogakaya, whatever, Kaya, you see them all. Natural body is Buddha's body. Nirmanakaya, just sitting, feeling his physical sensations, not trying to suppress anything or escape from it. Trying to escape just reifies it, makes it more solid. Just sitting, just breathing, and third, just being. Dharmakaya, Buddha's heart mind. The natural great perfection, Dzogchen, the innate great completeness, Dzogchen, the ultimate stance, the bigger perspective, the view, Mahamudra, the innate great perfection, the Buddha in our own hand. Did you remember has a whole Tibetan text called The Buddha in Your Own Hand? Look it up. It's translated in English. I don't know how easy it is to read. Ah, just sitting, just breathing, just being awake, aware, attentive, AAA club, the great safety net of one's life, aware, awake, attentive, above average. If it starts with an A, that's for me. That's for us. A plus even already. Can't miss it. Here and now, right under our noses, seems too good to be true. So we can't hardly believe it. It's not outside ourselves, so we can't just get it or obtain it on the shopping channel. It's so clear. We see right through it. We don't notice it. And the fourth one that I forget. These are the four rivets of the view of Dzogchen. Openness and awareness inseparable. Letting go means letting come and go, not suppressing or indulging, following it, letting things come and go, letting be, radical acceptance, equanimity, not complacency, caring, yet somewhat detached, like grandparents are so loving, but a little more detached from the little children's antics than the parents are. Through the grandparents' more experience in age, etc. The wisdom of aging and saging. Age doesn't guarantee wisdom without reflection and reflecting and learning from experience. This breath, only breath, focus on it, feel it in your body, be embodied, sitting in your seat, touching the floor, the ground, the fundament, centered, awake, aware, attentive, above average. This is one song where everybody's above average to play on Garrison Keillor. Anyway, feeling good. Why not? What's missing right now, or what's extra to get rid of? Give yourself some slack. Don't try to stop thinking. Let things come and go and let them go. Everything in flux and flow. Ecstatic, not static. Stopping, centered, planted. Thich Nhat Hanh, who's such a genius at meditation instructor, even ventured to say solid like a mountain. I don't hear that often. Solid, centered, balanced, grounded. Feel it. Give it the tush push down. Feel where you are, what you're feeling. Your legs, your feet, whatever, touching the ground or the chair or the couch or the top of the flagpole you're sitting on. Yes, it's everywhere. The best place to meditate is wherever you are. Grateful, appreciating the opportunity, savoring the moment. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, one and all. Thank you to the one, and thank you to all of you, of us. From me to we. Yes. Awareness, aware of awareness, innate wakefulness, not cultivated special states of mind that you try to hold on to a prolonged flow, the great Tao. And remember, flows through you right now. The Maho, way to go. Oh, yeah. Ah. Mm. Thank you, Lord Buddha, for this our day, for this our life, for all your wonders, blessings, gifts, and delights, for the sun, the moon, the five elements, air, wind, water, fire, space, and for our entire community, our beloveds, our family, our friends, our colleagues, our Sangha, and the Sangha of all beings. That's the true community. That's the big circle. That's the Mahamudra. Koinonia, into being, communion, the real meaning of family or Sangha, true fellowship, not just brotherhood, sisterhood, but koinonia, community, communion, co-creation, collaboration, inclusion. Yes, may it be so. And grateful for all those who have showed us the way, taught the way, practiced the way, interested in the way, sharing the way these days, including the next generations, paying it forward, passing it on, whatever you call it. Our mission here is transmission and transformation, not just preservation, transmission and transformation. May all beings everywhere with whom we are inseparably interconnected and who want and need the same as we do. May all be awakened, liberated, healed, fulfilled, and free. May there be peace and harmony in this world and an end to war and violence, poverty and hunger, inequality and oppression, greed and cruelty, and all kinds of natural disasters. May we all be free from fear, harm, danger, anxiety, stress, and insecurity. And may we all together complete this marvelous, unexpected, miraculous spiritual journey. One beloved community, one Sangha, one satsang, one circle, one family, all the way home. For a better world and a better future to be possible and a sustainable planet. the better future that begins right now. Imaho, way to go. Let's see the three-quarters of the glass that's full rather than half that's empty. That's my kind of math. Must be getting older. Oh, it's you. Look, there's Menla and Leo, Barbara Fleming, Bob Schmidt, Joel Sheldon, Layla in Chicago, and all of you. So nice to see you. Love to one and all, and holiday blessings. I used to feel or even say when I first started teaching around 1990 that gratitude wasn't stressed enough in Buddhism, in Tibetan Buddhism, etc., and maybe even in yoga, but I'm not going to speak for yoga. You can ask the yoga teachers about that, including our Menla here, Judy Ricci. I'm looking around. Who else? I can't even remember. Probably Leo, secretly a yoga teacher besides a psychiatrist. Or maybe he's a Yogi Berra, kind of a wise guy, or both. Anyway, life ain't much fun unless you have a sense of humor and can laugh at oneself. I used to feel that it wasn't stressed enough, and in a way I still do, but modern Buddhism has picked up on that. It used to be forgiveness and gratitude seemed to be associated mostly with the Western religions, for us Westerners, Judaism and Christianity. I can't speak about Islam, but probably that too. We all come from the same book, the Bibles. The Buddhism that we grew up with in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s was mostly translated from Asia, and it did stress honoring the teacher and the parents and the lineage and other things, but it didn't so much stress gratitude because Buddhism is a non-theistic religion, not atheistic, non-theistic. So there weren't that many real prayers, thanking Buddha. But of course, we could say like that. And I just want to say that gratitude and forgiveness is so important on the path, not just acceptance, but and empathy and resilience and things we hear popular today. And letting go, which too often doesn't even include letting things come and go. It's more suppressing or thought swatting. Get away. Anyway, Brother David Steindl-Rast, who was a Benedictine friar, he may still be alive. He's probably 95 and lives in Austria if he's alive. A dear friend, has written books about this. You might look up, and he was also a longtime Zen practitioner and friend of Richard Baker Roshi and Jerry Brown and the beautiful people of California in those decades, and lived at Esalen. David Steindl-Rast, he wrote books with the title Gratitude in it that I can't remember. Maybe one's real actual title is Gratitude is the Heart of Prayer. That's pretty interesting. Not what you usually hear from. Anyway, he has a website called gratitude.org. Last time I checked, which was probably 10 years ago. And it's wonderful. And there's a lot free there for the picking, practices, wise quotes, and his thoughts and blogs and other people's about gratitude and cultivating it. And in Buddhism, in our kind of Buddhism, let's say Himalayan Buddhism, but in general in Eastern spirituality, there's a lot of gratitude and devotion to the elders, whether they're elder or the spiritual friends and teachers or benefactors or collaborators or helpmates on the path, or just our comrades schlepping along together, singing and holding hands. That's the way I like to see it. Anyway. So folksy. I am. You can take the guy out of folk music, but you can't take the folk music out of the guy, I guess. Um, Gratitude is such a great practice. And rather than talk a lot about it, and you can read about it in my books and other things, just consider the Guru Yoga teachings and thinking of all that the teachers have done for oneself and the other like specific cultivation, contemplations in it to cultivate gratitude and devotion and respect and to pass it on, feeling responsible to passing it on and preserving it, passing it on and apply it and adapt it so it fits and so on. That's all the outflows of gratitude and includes generosity and non-attachment and ethics and mindfulness and skillful means and really all the paramitas are in there. So I do want to get to the question and answers. I have couple of other things I wanted to say about this. Yes, personally speaking, some years ago, maybe I realized that I've been talking about this for some decades and it was time to practice it. And I started practicing and I reviewed some of my notes from my retreats and things on Guru Yoga and devotion and gratitude and inspiration and out bodhicitta and altruism and all that. And attitude transformation, Lojong, mind training. And I really started to practice. And I looked at David Standar's writing and some other people that were recommended and thought about it. And I was thinking, well, we meditate every morning and night, but in the world of Islam, they bow down 5 times wherever they are to Mecca on their prayer mat. Even when I pulled into the parking lot last night near the art theater in Harvard Square with my friend Bruce, with cousin Brucey, and was trying to park in the dark, I saw there was this yellow cone and one space had I guess it was the parking lot attendant kneeling down on a rug and bowing to Mecca. It was his evening prayers at 9 p.m. And I was so touched. I thought, where are the meditators now? Where am I? I'm going off to see a silly movie. So, and I thought, most of us Buddhists, we may or may not say prayers at night. Many people in the West that we know have been brought up to say prayers at night or in your room or kneeling down or not. We have a secular society. Anyway, I started to say thank you and cultivate gratitude when I was in bed and after reading or whatever I did at night and turned off the light before I conked out. I mean, practice dream yoga all night. Then I would say thank you. I mean, it's easy to get a start. Take notes. And then next I would say thank you. And then I would say thank you. And I'm not even saying I said 3 thank yous. I don't want to make this into a practice. I mean, sure, do the 3 thank yous. And that will include your AAA awareness, attention, and the other one, whatever it was. It's all there. But for me, my subjective, my almost physical experience was like being lifted out of the bed and this world. And I don't mean levitating like in what was that seminal movie, the Exorcism, Exorcist. I don't mean levitating or the bed going up or my body going, but my spirit was lifted and elevated. I was uplifted is the right word, out of my usual habitual occupations and the world and the day and the work world and whatever, being annoyed by people that you want to see the God in, but you feel like punching them in the throat, to quote that wonderful Bodhisattva teacher leader, Brene Brown, again, recommending her books. I say books, but podcasts, YouTubes, master classes, whatever she has. Thank you. That's my practice. at night. I'm becoming a child, like a child again, saying my prayers in bed at night. I'm a good boy. We're still trying. As my father used to say, you'd better be a doctor, but more important, be a mensch. Still trying. So, any questions, please?
Lama, the first question that we have is, uh, could you give examples of letting go at the same time as trying to accomplish things in the world?
How about letting go of your hesitations, doubts, and inhibitions? How about letting go of the out? Now, I'm starting at a fairly high level. There are other things you could say, like letting go of seeking a reward for yourself or letting yourself go, letting yourself be and do what you feel to do and check that it's fits in, that it's, like have some mindfulness about what you're intending and what you enact and what the results are. And then afterwards, the repercussions, I could say, but I'm not going to say. I'm trying to save time and get to like things maybe you might not think about all the time. I mean, I don't think about these things. Since you asked, now I'm thinking about them. So good. So I let myself go. How about letting go of the end, like be on the journey, not just overly focused on the goal? Letting go of the expectations and see what happens. To quote the great Tao Te Ching by Lao Tzu, read Stephen Mitchell's translation if you are interested. Lao Tzu, the greatest Taoist philosopher and philosopher of China at the time of the Buddha, was in India, he was in China, said, the master does her best and lets go, and whatever happens, happens. She keeps doing her best and letting go, and whatever happens, happens. So, not being attached to outcomes is the short phrase that we use. Of course, we care. Would you be investing in a college fund if you didn't expect it to be there when your kids needed to go to college? But what happens if there's a Great Depression or something else? What happens if, I don't know, the new administration makes up its own form of money and your dollars are not worth anything anymore, even though they're in the bank? I don't know. Just free will in here making up shit that could happen. Anyway, letting go of outcomes and doing our best and letting go and knowing whatever happens, happens. We're not in control. You can say the Buddha is within, God is within all you want. We're not exactly in control. There's that side too. And yet we're responsible. We have agency. We can make a difference. We need discernment, reflection, mindful awareness, not mindlessly walking through life like a bull in a china shop, or as my friends used to say, Surya in a china shop. Surya in a small bookstore, knocking over whole shelves in his frantic, avid reading. So that's a few examples of letting go and still caring or still being in action. It doesn't mean just doing nothing. Doing nothing would be just another form, an idea of solving the problem by doing nothing. The Buddha taught the middle way, not all or nothing, not never, always and never. So I want to reiterate some of the things I thought, like letting go of inhibitions and doubts, and see how that goes. Of course, not just getting totally sloppy and having no guardrails or evaluation or self-evaluations afterwards, or even other evaluations to appropriate extent. Having a mentor or guides or, helping you, but not paying over much attention. People have been, I don't know. I like to talk like this, so I'm going to do. People, this isn't really good bodhisattva talk. People are always bugging me to say, like what I'm doing, what I'm reading, what I'm writing, what I'm going to do next, what I'm going to write next. And people know now that I've written some memoirs and I have a whole manuscript to my India days in the 70s, let's call it. And of course, the questions about that. I don't like to talk about things till I do them exactly. But what's your legacy? What would you like your legacy to be? And there's a lot one can talk about that. But what I want to say is we're talking about letting go. I'm thinking like my whole life, I've been caring over much about what other people think and trying to, excel in school and in life. And I don't know if excel is the right word, but like, be positive and I don't know, be liked, whatever, looking for love, sometimes in the wrong places, but, caring to over much what other people think. And why should I care when I'm dead over much about what other people think? I like joke to myself. And then I answered to one friend, I said, "Oh, it would be good enough for me if, you know, I mean, I don't know if I need to be remembered, but like if my kids or my grandkids, my whatever I have, god kids, great grandnephews, and not so great ones, and all in between, and my god kids, I mean, they're all great. So I'm just teasing the in-laws, the outlaws, the in-between laws, the scoff laws. It's family. You love them, even if you don't always like or disagree what's going on. But why should I care so much when I'm gone what other people think? But if people feel like Surya was a good guy and tried and moved the needle a little bit, or he moved the ball a little, 10 or 20 yards downfield, that would be more than enough. So thank you. Of course, a person like me seems to be very achievement oriented, and that's related. So having some balance again, the middle way between undoing the habit of overdoing and also still being like committed, accomplished, engaged, contributing, and relaxing and being and not losing the being in the doing, but also not entirely lose the doing in the being, like just be and stay in meditation posture 24/7 for the rest of your life. Like that's not really indicated unless you're a stone Buddha in the garden or a wooden Buddha statue. But a living Buddha, eats, breathes, defecates, lives, laughs, cries, whatever, punches their friend in the shoulder when they're watching the football game today, drinks a beer, God forbid, or something, and doesn't worry about it unless it's too much, unless it becomes a problem. So occasionally I say to myself, or I find written in my poetry journal, what's the problem? Is it really a problem? Why are you telling yourself this narrative? It's a big relief. In the absolute, no problem. In life, many problems. So I'm grateful for the Dharma. Thank God for the Dharma, Buddhism, as I like to say. Thank God for non-theistic Buddhism. It's a kind of a witty joke, but I give thanks for the Dharma and my teachers and the transmission, the opportunities that I've had and we have, and the sharing that we have together. The sharing that we have together. So beautiful. In fact, the great late Master Thich Nhat Hanh of Vietnam and so on, and you should look into his books and his thought if you can. Miracle of Mindfulness, Peace is the Way, things like books like that. He said the Buddha of the future is the Sangha, the community, the fellow practitioners. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So don't wait for the Buddha Maitreya, the sixth Buddha, to come 8 feet tall and golden hued, as it says in the scriptures. The eighth Buddha in the Sasana in the big time of 1,000 Buddhas that we're part of. This big time, our Buddha Shakyamuni of India was the fifth. He might have been the fourth. Who's counting? Well, why wait for Buddha to come like a Messiah when, the Messiah comes from within? We are the Messiah. If that's not blasphemy to some nice Catholics. I'm a Catholic too, in the sense of small c, universal. Look it up. So, oh, we still have 4 minutes. That's wonderful. Anybody have another question or a contribution? Hello, Joel. Love you, man. I hope you're well. You look good. Joel Sheldon lives in California in Pasadena and has long had his family runs the bookstore in Pasadena. It might be called Sheldon's, who knows? By now it might be called something else, which I won't say. It starts with a T, but never, I didn't even say that, did I? I just thought it. Another question or anything?
Yeah, there's a lot of love for you and thanks to you in the chat for being here today.
What a
Um,
pleasure. I'm
we
always here. Where are you? Is there a problem? And if so, what's the problem? The Dalai Lama says, if there's a problem, try to fix it. If there's no problem, what then? Good. What to do? Or if you can't take care of it, just, innerly, like resolve yourself to bear it and be patient and know this too will pass. Thank you, Anahita. I see you in my mind. Menla, did you have some more wise thoughts to share with us? Menla is a woman of wisdom, as you all know, and she's our fearless leader and admiral. She runs a tight ship.
That's right. You got 3 minutes. Can you answer this one in 3 minutes?
How long does it take to awaken? Come on. You
That's
know.
very
Go
true.
ahead. Ah,
They're actually, Sarah's coming, must be in Bhutan because she says she's here for the Global Peace Prayer Festival and on a journey of awakening. And I'm staying here for a while. She was wondering if you had any recommendations for her while she's there.
yes. I love to give recommendations to my friends about my friends or teachers or something. And I've been in Bhutan, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, not since the pandemic. I don't know where you are in Bhutan, but Nyosho Kempo's wife, Damchu La, well known to Bhutanese, Damchu La, Nyosho Kempo's wife, he he's gone now, has a house in Thimphu, the capital. You could easily visit her. She has rough English, but her niece speaks good English and works for the government, Daichin children, and is often translates or, is with them. Um, if you're more in eastern Bhutan, at Paro, or you go to Tiger's Cave Monastery, which is well known and up in the mountains. It's always in the National Geographic and picture books about rare and exotic, beautiful places. And I think still you can only get there by walking. It's a hike, it's a pilgrimage of a few hours, but it's really worth it getting up there. And Padmasambhava himself was there and practiced. And something about the tigers coming, and I don't know what. He fed them Oreos or something, or long life pills, or I don't know. He subdued them. They relaxed and laid down because his aura was so peaceful and non and fearless. There are many stories. Kinsi Rinpoche's monastery and house where he left this world, the late great Dingo Kinsi Rinpoche, uh, our beloved teacher who's over there, I think where my thumb is now. That's Neosho Kempo. I can't do left and right in this, okay? And Kinsi Dingo Kinsi, anyway, his place is there. There's a house in a stupa. It's near the Queen's Palace. Um, there's a Vajrakalaya stupa in the capital of Thimphu, a big one, a very powerful one, a Vajrakalaya, the great Nyingmapa Yidam, or protector, active, obstacle-moving deity that we practice in this Sangha and Dudja Rinpoche's lineage and our tradition and Kinsi Rinpoche's lineage. Really, I got, I had Vajrakalaya empowerments also from other lamas like Karmapa, like Urgyen Tuku Rinpoche, and so on. It's a very important practice. And the great Tinley Norbu Rinpoche, late great, the father of the Lama who made the Cup movie, Tinley Norbu, the son of Dudjom Rinpoche, Tinley Norbu Rinpoche built that stupa in Bhutan. He had a Bhutanese wife and he lived in Bhutan a lot when they left Tibet before he came and lived in New York the rest of his life. Tinley Norbu Rinpoche, who's written a few good books worth reading, like Gypsy Gossip and a few other things I can't remember. A very iconoclastic, brilliant Lama who spoke English in his last few decades. So if you're in Thimphu, the capital, the Vajrakalaya Stupa, easy to find, big. People circumambulate it. People walk and sit there. People light candles there. People practice Vajrakalaya there. People take their magic dagger, which I'm not going to go looking for on my altar, or their beads and get a blessing from the stupa. Or you see different lamas there. So that's my thoughts at the moment about Bhutan. And it's a beautiful green country like Switzerland, well preserved, not overrun by tourism, and not with the degraded environment like many of the other poor countries, small countries of Southeast Asia and South Asia. So have a great time and give my love to Damshala and everybody there. Of course. I love Bhutan, you know. In Tibetan, we call it Druk, the land of the dragon. I can't remember why. And the Drukpa Kagyu that our own beloved teacher Gyalwang Drukpa, the 12th Gyalwang Drukpa Rinpoche, is the head of the Drukpa Kagyu, the dragon lineage of Mahamudra Dzogchen, um, is the main religion there of Tibetan Buddhist sects. It's a lot of Drukpa Kagyu there, the land of the dragon, as it says on any number of tourist brochures or wherever you get your information on the web, I'm sure. I think that Tricycle Magazine, I think that Bodhi Path Travels, I think the Stephen Batchelor and friends have taken tours there of Buddhist pilgrimage and interesting things. So if you like to go and you don't have anybody to go with, or you want to learn something about it while you're there, you know, it's make it easier for yourself. You could easily look into that. People know it's advertised every year. Tricycle Magazine, uh, Bodhi Path Travels, which is based in Delhi. They speak English like the rest of the world. So thank you all, and I'm grateful for having the privilege and the heart opportunity to be together. And sometimes I think we should do this together every morning, not just once a week on Sunday. But I mean, I meditate every morning anyway. But then we have to coordinate and time zones, and I have to get a text from on my personal cell phone from Menla every hour since like 2 days ago. This is the 48-hour warning. Then there's the 24-hour warning, and then this morning, there's the 5-hour morning, like before the crack of dawn, and why don't you answer me the next warning? And then there's the half-hour and 20-minute warnings. Just feel for her. Thank you, Menla. Love you. And you all be well.